Tonight, we are taking a closer look at a subject that does not get a lot of attention. Several people came to Fox 9 to share their story of losing a baby late in pregnancy, so others watching will feel less alone. Leah Bino shares how some local families are coping with heartbreak and the ripple effect that goes far beyond the mother and child.
This in her urn, and then wear it like on her birthday or special occasions, just to keep her with us.
Eva would have been 4 years old today, but at full term, 40 weeks pregnant, suddenly Sarah Remnitz realized the baby in her belly wasn't moving.
Everything was fine and dandy and normal until...
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their world shattered so much, Sarah and her husband made drastic changes personally and professionally. They sold their home. Nate took a year leave of absence from his physician assistant job in pediatric neurosurgery and instead leaned into their faith, bought a ranch, and named it after Eva. The Eland Ranch in Afton offers couples consumed with loss a place to grieve at no cost.
It's a lonely place. Not many people talk about it. Not many people are comfortable discussing grief in general, and then when you bring a child into the play, it's a whole different ballgame.
Nobody wants to see pictures of your dead grandbaby.
On the other side of the metro, Susie Starks grieves every day for the loss of her first and only grandchild. Her son and daughter-in-law tried to get pregnant for nearly a decade. Last Halloween, announcing they were expecting, but in June, Harlow passed, barely a few weeks before she would have been born.
The hardest part, I think, of all of it, as much as I mourn my granddaughter and wish that she were here, watching my son in that kind of pain is just, you just can't imagine.
Now Susie journals and blogs about her loss, not only recognizing the pain mothers feel when a miscarriage or loss of an infant occurs, but also the heartache fathers, grandparents, and other loved ones can carry forever.
It is a very lonely place. It's very isolating because most people don't go through this. Most people don't talk about it.
It needs to be talked about more, and because it's a real part of life.
Dr. Corinne Robinson with Health Partners is open with her patients about her own pregnancy loss in her first trimester. While late-term losses are much more rare, in total, miscarriages do occur in about 30% of all women who get pregnant. She believes, even though heartbreaking, more awareness is essential.
There's nothing that will get you used to a silent delivery. When a baby comes out and there is no sound in the room, it is probably the worst thing that we do. But I think that just someone telling their story, and if it's accessible to someone in a place and a time that they're ready to hear it, what a gift that could be.
Other gifts and support come through Halos of the St. Croix Valley. The nonprofit offers everything from free funeral services to professional photography to bereaved parents. So far this year, of the families they've helped, 141 babies were lost between early pregnancy to full-term stillborns. Capturing moments like these at the hospital in a short window between birth and burial or cremation. Limited time in loved one's arms, but viewed as precious for a lifetime.
What helps me grieve, what helps me grow is different than what will help you grow and grieve, and same with Nate and...
Linda, come here, sweetie.
In various ways, in the months or years that pass, life does go on. But for Sarah and Nate, the grief for their child that is missing never disappears. But just like everyone we spoke to, they hope sharing their story will help someone else in similar pain come out of the silent suffering when they are ready.
I hate that this happened. I would do anything to have my daughter. But I hope that we can be there for people who are going through the same thing. Because the community is important.
Leah Bino, Fox 9.
And there are several local resources for families who have experienced losing an infant. We've compiled a list of those resources on our website, fox9.com.